The sisters stood looking at each other with their hands on their hips and their lips pursed for about 30 seconds before they each broke out into loud laughter and finished closing the distance between them by hugging. Okay, let's go. Maddie is outside waiting for us so we can go to the furniture store. Wait a minute. I don't think you two have thought this thing out very well because we can't just carry the furniture home on our backs. We need a U-Haul and we've already taken care of it. When we couldn't get Uncle TJ, we called Coach Banyan and told him what we were doing, and he said he would be more than happy to meet us at the store with a U-Haul. Did you say Coach Banyan? Are you out of your mind? Whose idea was it to get Coach Banyan in our business? Chill. It was Matt's idea, and we tried to get someone else, but it was short notice and we needed to get somebody who could drive. What do you think Mom's going to say when she finds out we had a strange man in the house when she wasn't home? Will you relax? Coach isn't a strange man, and Matt is going to be here with us the whole time. Mom is not going to like this, and you better tell her I didn't have anything to do with it. You know, if you spent as much time helping us fix the house up for Mom as you spend complaining about this and that, we would be finished by now. Come on, let's go. Yeah, whatever. I'm helping, but let the record show I didn't have anything to do with Mr. Banyan, and I still don't want those little brats in my room. Knowing her sister as well as she did, Vet knew her complaining could last all day, and Matt would ultimately end up being the object of her frustrations. So she decided not to answer her, get their coats, and start walking toward the door, motioning her to follow. When Matt saw his sisters coming toward him, he read from the expression on their faces that it would be wise not to ask if everything was okay, and instead locked the door behind them and headed to the U-Haul truck parked in front of the house. You said he was going to meet us at the store. You didn't say anything about him meeting us at the house, hissed Ned at her sister fiercely. What difference does it make? He's going to come back here anyway, and it's a lot faster than taking the bus there. Will you relax and stop being so suspicious? He's very nice and he didn't mind helping us, and you are really starting to get on my nerves. And one more thing. What? Asked Ned as her sister pulled her aside by her arm, looking her straight in the eye. Be nice. When the phone rang early Saturday morning, Will was reluctant to answer it, afraid it was going to be some pesky intrusion on his peaceful day off. There was, however, no words to describe his surprise when he heard Matt Jones on the other end of the phone. To say he was a bit thrown by Matt's appeal for help was an understatement, but when he heard the whole story of their mother's mission of mercy and the children's determination to help her, he was moved beyond words and told them it would be his pleasure to help them. Looking at himself in the mirror, he wondered if the odds of him getting his phone call when yesterday morning he was thinking about Denise Jones and the chances of them ever being able to talk in a social meeting. He instantly felt foolish and rebuked his doubtful thinking. It was not a matter of chance that led to the call from Matthew Jones, but an answer to the prayers he had been sending up to God to direct him in the matter of Denise Jones. Any new relationship had its share of trials and tribulations, but this one was going to have added complications. Between teenage children, looks and stares of strangers, and both of them recuperating from their first marriage, they were in for a rocky ride. He had to laugh at himself then because He sounded like they were already involved and were planning a life together. Well, with God, all things are possible, he thought, and decided to keep allowing God to order his steps, hoping they would lead to Denise Jones. So he set about ordering a U-Haul and getting dressed at the same time, and thank the good Lord he decided to answer the phone this morning. Sitting in front of the Joneses' house later that morning, he had to admit he was a bit nervous and recalled the conversation he had last week with his pastor. Do you mean to tell me you are finally getting back into the pool again? Well, praise the Lord, because it is about time. So tell me who she is. Do I know her? Is she a member of this church? No, she isn't a member of this church and you don't know her, but she is a born again Christian. That's the most important thing. So, how long have you known her? And when am I going to meet her? Whoa, slow down. I was just saying there's a lady I'm very interested in, but I didn't say I was going to introduce her to you. But of course, you're going to introduce her to me. Why wouldn't you introduce her to me? Is something wrong with me? She isn't married or underage or anything, is she? Because you said she was born again. So, what could the problem possibly be? I didn't say there was a problem. I just didn't say I was going to introduce her to you just yet. Okay, I must be asking the wrong questions because we seem to be dancing in circles. So I'll just listen to you. Go ahead. I'm sorry if I seem to be evasive, but there's very good reason for that. You see, I haven't really been seeing this lady yet. I just really like her, and I'm praying God will open the door of opportunity for me to step through into her life. Pardon me if I sound stupid, but what is wrong with just walking up to her and introducing yourself and asking her out for a date? Well, it's not as easy as it sounds. And the reason being, because she isn't white. She's not white? No. What is she? She's black. She's black? Yes, she's black. Oh. So you see why I haven't just walked up to her and asked her out on a date yet? Yes. And I also see why you never should. What do you mean, why I never should? Will, you have got to be smarter than that. You haven't been with a woman since the death of your wife, and aside from moving away from your entire family and all your friends, this seems to be a very foolhardy thing to do. Why? Because she's black? Among other things, yes. What other things? Look, Will, you know I'm not prejudiced, but I think some things are best avoided. Frank, I am surprised and very disappointed to be hearing this from you. I would expect to hear this from my colleagues at school or strangers in the street, but not you. Well, I'm sorry to disappoint you, but I happen to think you're making a mistake. And since I'm your pastor, I feel it's my responsibility to lead you in every stop. All due respect, Frank, but I think I'll be leaving now. Will, wait a minute. I don't want you to leave with the wrong impression of me. No, I don't think I have the wrong impression of you. I think the impression I have of you is the right one. I really do wish you would stay so we could talk about this some more, Will. I think we've talked about this as much as we need to. Thanks. Think about what you're doing, son. Think about how your decision will affect everyone involved and not just yourself. See you later, Frank. Does she have children? How do they feel about this? Are you and she comfortable in public? Have you introduced her to your family and have you met hers? Will had put on his hat and coat and was standing with his hand on the doorknob when he slowly turned around and looked at his pastor with a sad look in his eyes. Before he spoke, he took a slow look around the pastor's study because he knew it would be the last time he would see it. Will had grown up in a family that welcomed diversity on all levels and not only when it was comfortable for them. But the idea that he was actually being taught by a man with such backward thinking troubled him deeply. Frank, I won't be back after today. And I hope you get some help for yourself. And just to set the record straight, I haven't met her family yet, and she hasn't met mine because I haven't actually met her yet. But I will. I know it's going to be all right because I've been praying about it, and God is in all things good and pure and right. And I know my heart is right and my thoughts are pure. And marriage to a holy, clean, and righteous woman is a good thing. Oh, and one more thing, Frank. Anytime anyone says they aren't prejudiced, they are. Goodbye. Ever since that conversation with his ex pastor, Will had dealt with nagging doubts about his decision to pursue a relationship with Sister Jones. But he had continued to pray about it, and he felt God had answered his prayer. And Matt calling this morning was a confirmation. Will was brought back to the present by the children exiting their house and coming toward him.